Welcome back to the full market analysis for the 23rd of April for VIP members. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Just before we go on to the full market analysis, I'll go over to the price action charts and gold. It had a spike, didn't it, with the news on inflation, and of course then we had an outside bar. These are really, really important, not to be ignored. Please do not ignore these outside bars. They are highly valuable, and even if you use them for exits, they're a great way to bank the profits. If you're long from here, for instance, this morning, then of course you have a great opportunity to exit. The other thing to bear in mind is what we talked about this morning in the coaching video. Look out for convergence. So we can see the downtrend. Not exactly perfect, because I prefer it to come into this trend line and then have a liquidity grab. What's happened here is come into supply here, into this yellow area, which is our liquidity, where there are lots and lots of big orders here to sell off gold. So we do have a target of 23.00. I did say 22.98, but you can go in as deep as you want to. This could be a big move, so look out for this. This could go down to here, 22.84, 22.69, 22.55. So take your pick. The first target is 23.00. So on to the full market analysis. Unfortunately, we're not seeing any drivers of the market at the moment. Volume is very low, so please trade carefully using small lots. And as we can see with the US dollar, or the DXY as it's known, US dollar index, is our driver for the dollar and the dollar pairs, in particular euro dollar, pound, USD, US yen, of course. So we do expect this to go higher. It has not broken structure, but it is certainly not achieving higher highs, sitting in this sort of rectangle position here. So we await a breakout, but we're not actually seeing it yet. Price 105.66. But holding on to price structure, market structure, as you can see, the color is green, and we do expect this price to go to 106.84. Going to have to be patient, guys. Going to have to be patient in these markets. In terms of the yen futures, we are seeing nothing moving whatsoever. The US yen is parabolic to the upside, Canadian yen is parabolic to the upside, and the Swiss yen and the euro yen have converted. Now, in order for this, the driver of these pairs to go up, we do need to see further downside momentum in terms of the yen futures contracts. It's still holding on to market structure. It's achieving a lower highs and lower lows. That's good news. However, the volumes are not driving the price down yet. But it will, and it should, in the next few days. So patience, again, is required. Onward and downward to 63.73. This move is massive. And if it does happen, of course, then this is going to drive all the yens much, much higher. Swiss franc futures is stuck on that order block here, as mentioned yesterday and probably the day before, holding on to market structure. So we do expect this price to move down, heading for 109.07 in the next few days. But again, even with the Swiss franc pairs, you need to be patient. On to Aussie 200, it has gone parabolic to the downside. It's broken this support line here and had a nice pullback. So it's now reaching this convergence area. We often talk about this, don't we? So this area here is convergence. And so therefore, if the price is going to change direction and move up, then of course it's got to break that brick wall. So that is the area, and it's likely to go down. So if you fancy that trade, then carry on. If you want a position trade, then we can suggest trailing stop 77.08, target 74.21. Trade at your own risk. S&P 500 is still parabolic to the downside, pushing up at the moment. Interesting, isn't it? We're seeing a big push down here. However, there seems to be a bit of a long uptrend here on the 4-hour, which is unusual. Don't see that very often. Could be due to this support line. One of the questions Laurie asked, which is quite valid, is about support lines within a parabolic trend. So we do have all the sellers in, which is a bit of a conflict, as you can imagine. So this trend line, if I get rid of that, goes back probably 6 months to a year or even 2 years. So it's a major support area from the Advanced Pro chart. So you've got a bit of a quandary in that price could move up from this area, hit our target from last week, but this is holding on to price. So might be better in these circumstances to wait for the price to break down again, break down at this line in an ideal world, and then start to head for target 47.39. So great question, Laurie, excuse me, and certainly a valid one. But for me, you often find that the long-term trend, parabolic trend, is very powerful. There is also a support line here going back a long time here as well at 49.23. So there may be better trades to be had. Euro dollar, let's have a look, see what's happening from the long-term charts. As I mentioned previously, I did expect the price to come back up to this support line. It's now resistance at 106.96. It's doing exactly that and then heading for 105.48. The trading stop now is 107.39. Allow the price to do whatever. Very low volumes, guys. So again, just a reminder, not seeing the volumes that we need. Pound USD, exactly the same. Of course, we're seeing a pull up into this liquidity zone as we speak, actually. So we could be looking at a sell-off on pound USD. I'll send a signal once I see it. Trailing stop is 124.66. Target way down there at 123.20. US yen is looking good. Albeit sideways. You can now move your stop to 154.15. Target is 155.07, and then on to the big one, 160.59. Similar situation for the Aussie USD. We're seeing the price retracing. That's all they're doing, traders. They're just retracing. With very, very low volume. So the inflation data out from today didn't really have an impact. We saw a weaker dollar slightly, which drove these prices up to resistance. So we do expect further downside momentum to initiate in the next few hours. So have a look at that. Target is 63.60 on to 62.78. The Kiwi is continuing, doing exactly the same thing, of course. This is just a correction before the rollover, and that will probably be in the next 24 hours. There's no big data out for the rest of the week until Friday at 1:30, the more inflation data. So this gives us a free run in terms of the US dollar. Gold is now moving down to target 23.19. Happy days. At last, we're seeing some movement in gold. And yeah, look out for these. These could be big moves. 58.42 is the target for the Kiwi. Trailing stop is 59.56. Canadian yen gone parabolic, and previously mentioned it's broken. It's got break of structure here, achieving higher highs, which is fantastic. You can wait for the pullback if you want to. A swing low, which will happen eventually. Don't worry. If you're patient enough, your stop and your trailing stop is 112.17. Target is 115. Ignore the 06. 115 is good enough. No other yens are trending yet, but they could do very, very shortly. Swiss yen continued uptrend is likely. Nice swing low on the stochastic. and the price is the trailing stop is 168.71. Do have a little bit of a resistance supply area. 171 is your target. Remember, when you have an uptrend, strong parabolic trend, all the supply areas can be ignored. So you can switch them off if you want to. So, you can see that there's a strong trend upwards on the euro yen. We've got a fresh buy signal, break of structure. So heading for 167.23. There's a much bigger target coming. So don't be afraid to make a lot of money. Your trailing stop is a 163.90. 167.23. Enjoy, trade at your own risk. Pound Swiss. Now this is, I mentioned this morning, I think, if I remember rightly. This is a good example, as Laurie mentioned, the trend line supports. Even though you've got all the sellers in, price going down, there is an argument to say that the price is just coming down to this area before it bounces and goes back up to 150, 115.83, which was our previous target. That could well happen, but we have to trade with what we have and what we see rather than what we think. So in the meantime, we can see that there's a change of character to the downside. There's a downtrend, and so therefore we trade what we see. And our trailing stop is 113.74, and our target is, if it breaks that trend line, is 109.87. Aussie Canadian is in a downtrend, clearly. Holding on to support here, another example of a trend line. A very important trend line is here, which could have an impact, so just be aware of that, and into liquidity as well. However, the long-term trend, as you can see, is down. So we do expect this price to fall and head for 87.32. Your trailing stop is, put that on there, 88.87. There's a nice swing high here as well, guys, so there's likely to be a lovely move down in the next few days. Euro Canadian to the downside, again hitting hitting an important support area here. However, we do expect it to go down to 145.51. That's it for all the trends. So look out for the yens. They're getting busy, and this is indicative of these yen futures going down, which it's not doing at the moment, but nonetheless, if it does suddenly shoot down, it will drive these pairs up. Aussie USD, New Zealand USD look to sell in the next 24 hours. US yen buy, and the euro dollar and the pound USD just having a correction. Gold is heading south, 23.20. Let's see what's going on there. Yeah, so what's happened here? The price has moved up outside bar and into supply, or what we call liquidity, which is where the orders are set up, and the big dogs, and heading for 23.00. So congratulations if you traded that. Any questions? Come back to me. Have a great day.